kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Cold Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Number 70!
We're talking about practice.
Hello, you play to win the game.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
3, 2, 1, happy 2000!
No time on the clock, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Worldwide Sports Radio Network presents Below the Mark.
Hello, Long Island, New York, and around the country. This is Below the Mic. As you guys know, I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Mr. Tidy Whitey himself, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to us every single Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time, only on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can call us at 631-500-0548. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You can download our app. How do you do that, Speedy? Well, I'll do it for you, Speedy. The best way to do that is to do this. You go to iOS, which is Apple, the application store, and you put in the search key, WWSRN, or Android. If you have an Android, you have a Samsung, which I do, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right here. It is an Android. All you got to do is put in the search key, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. What's up, Speedy?
Well, we've been working on a lot of stuff for the network for you yesterday.
Yes, you were.
Been busy, but all right.
Why can't you have some enthusiasm?
Because
I've been
there's
so
nothing
busy.
enthusiastic right now.
Well, there is. I'm here. And that's enthusiastic, isn't it? I'm being me sitting right next to you.
You on air is enthusiastic. Off air, sometimes it gets weird.
Why does it get weird? Why don't you tell the
no,
fans?
They do not need to know
I
any of the nonsense.
I think the fans need to know a little bit about us.
No,
and I think they need to know a little
don't.
bit about you.
No, they don't.
Does everybody know that Speedy wears tidy whities and he loves
does.
SpongeBob? He does. He loves.
I do not.
Yes, he does.
Wear tidy whities.
Yes, you do. Why don't you just tell the truth?
I don't. If I wore them, I would not. I would admit it. But
Well, you're not admitting it because you know you do. How about
why would that be something worth hiding?
Well, it's something worth hiding because you don't want anybody to know that's what you do.
What?
Yeah. So
why would they care?
Well, I think a lot of people would care. You're the great Speedy Petey. I would care if you're wearing tidy whities. You sign autographs. You go to Walmart.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Why would I do that?
Well, why would you do that? I don't know. Why would you do that?
Why would I go in the middle?
It's you.
Why would I go in a crowded store in the middle of a pandemic to sign underwear, which is hard to autograph as it is? Even if I cared about that, it's very flawed logic.
No, it's not flawed logic. That's great. Law logic. Anyways, we've got a great show lined up for you guys. At 6:30, we'll be talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodgers scout, Greg Golson. And by the way, we are working on trying to get our second guest. Speedy's been reaching out to him all day, but I'm sure he's been very, very busy. So hopefully we can get him on the show. If not today, we'll get him on Monday. But all in all, it's been a great week for sports, and we do this every single Wednesday. Speedy,
sports and entertainment news.
How the New York Knicks can build a playoff contender. Well, it's very, very simple. Why are you picking this slow song? This is the slowest entertainment live song. But anyways, Victor Oladipo. I mean, the New York Knicks have been talking about him since last year. Speedy, what do you think about this? Do you think the Knicks can land a Victor Oladipo for very minor picks?
Yeah, because he's coming off an injury. He's played well since that injury, but yes, this would be a good time to try to buy low on him where they don't have to give up a lot of big prospects or not a lot of big draft picks either. I think they'll definitely have to give up at least one first-round pick, but maybe not even more than that if they include the other young players. But Oladipo on a buy low might not be a bad idea.
Oh, well, you're going to hear Kevin Knox's name waggle around, so I think Kevin Knox will be on his way out if this happens.
Definitely.
Yankees Aaron Judge discussing potential contract extension contract extension entering the 2021 season. Well, I knew the Yankees were going to do this. He's right now going to be in arbitration next year. He's going to be expecting a lot of money. I think the Yankees should offer him at least $190, $200 million. I mean, this guy is one of the best players in baseball. Obviously, the injury situation is going to affect the big, long contract, but even giving him 160, 170, this guy is as good as any player in baseball when healthy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go above 170, 180.
I said the Knicks.
Yeah, I wouldn't go above that just because of the injury concerns, but beyond that, yeah, you're right. You have to lock him up at least, because even if he doesn't produce to the level he did in 2017 and 2018, he's still a force in that lineup.
3 quarterback Steelers should sign to compete for Ben Roethlisberger. One of them, he's right now the backup quarterback for the Colts. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett is the name that they've been talking about. It's so interesting because they've got Dwayne Haskins that nobody wanted. Now you're talking about Jacoby Brissett, who hasn't played as a starter for almost a year and a half. And then who's your other guy? A guy that's been backing up Ben Roethlisberger for the last 3 years. So I would be looking at somebody else, like Sam Darnold or something like that, that at least he has more upside than any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think if Rudolph has reached his peak where you thought if he was going to do something, it would have been soon, but he hasn't done that either.
Why do you pick? I asked you to play entertainment live music, and you play the slowest, oldest one. NFL rumors and news. Packers must keep Super Bowl window open as wide as possible and tag Aaron Jones, Speedy.
Yeah, I would try to sign Aaron Jones because, one, you have a bad history with running backs as it is. You have 2-year wonder with Eddie Lacy. That's the last one you've had good. You might as well sign him. I know it's pricey to sign running backs now, and Matt LaFleur's done well with platoons, but I would still try to lock him up.
Well, I will say this. Aaron Jones is still one of the best running backs in the league. He did not show up in the playoffs, and I think that will affect his contract with the Green Bay Packers. I think he's going elsewhere. John Lynch has no doubt Jimmy Garoppolo will start as a 49er in 2021. Well, there you go. Sam Darnold, no way. So it's limited where Sam Darnold could go now if it's not San Francisco.
People can say that just to say that. I mean, quarterback rumors are always fishy.
Well, he said no doubt. So when John Lynch says that, I do like the rock group, no doubt. So anyways, Bills put off Josh Allen contract extension for now. Why? This guy has earned every bit of the contract that he deserves. And you waiting too long could only make Josh Allen look that you don't believe in him, and he might say, you know what? I'm not signing an extension with you. I'm going to do something that another quarterback is doing with the Texans. Mm-hmm. So I think they should trust him and give him the money that he deserves.
Yeah, I don't think Allen will be stubborn, though, with the Bills. I think they'll be okay.
Tua Tagovailoa or Christian Wilkins and multiple draft picks could get a trade for Deshaun Watson done. No way in hell. Wilkins, Tua, and multiple draft picks? No way.
It's going to have to be multiple firsts and at least one more second if you're going to include.
And why would they want Tua? Why would they want Tua? Tua is not a good thrower. You've seen it. And they brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick at the end of games because they didn't believe in Tua. So why would they do that? DUI hearing delayed for Broncos Melvin Gordon. I didn't even hear about this.
Well, it was the DUI from the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that. NBA rumors and news. The Knicks could pursue Andre Drummond trade. No way in hell the Knicks should do that. No way. This guy's going to want an extension at the end of the season. He's going to want a lot of money. You got Robinson. You have a big team as of right now. Right. You have Randle. You still haven't seen enough of Opie Toppin. Why would you bring a big?
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
I think if the Knicks are going to try to make a quote-unquote contender-like trade, it would probably be for a point guard that's going to be a free agent, like a Kyle Lowry or a Drew Holiday or something like that.
Kristaps Porzingis unfollowing the Mavs for trying to trade him. Well, this is exactly what we knew Porzingis would be, and that would be a crybaby. This guy has been crying since he left the New York Knicks. Obviously, him and Luka Doncic aren't getting along over there. He wanted to go there so bad, and that team, when they put that together with Tim Hardaway, Kristaps Porzingis, and Luka Doncic, they thought it was going to work. It obviously has not. Is anyone actually scared of the Utah Jazz? I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell is a real superstar. Rudy Gobert is a completely different player this year with Donovan Mitchell. I think they're a great tandem, and they have a lot of depth on the bench.
And one of the best coaches in the NBA, Quinn Snyder, that nobody talks about.
Yep, he's going to win Coach of the Year.
He should, absolutely.
Zion Williamson teases potential slam dunk contest appearance. Who cares? There's not going to be anybody in the audience anyways. So who cares?
Right.
It doesn't really matter. Dwayne Wade on a great day with Tiger Woods' day before crash. So Dwayne Wade was hanging out with Tiger Woods the day before, and then Tiger Woods had that bad crash, which we'll get into in just one moment.
Yeah.
Sad.
Very
MLB
sad.
rumors and news. Phillies have checked in on Jake
Odorizzi, yep. But you need some pitching. You got to try something at this point.
Jake Odorizzi is a good guy.
Yeah.
So he's a good player. I think he fits very, very well with the Philadelphia Phillies. Jose Abreu tests positive for COVID-19, keeping him away from the White Sox for spring training. Oh, it's not going to be that long. It's going to be about 14 days.
Well, if there's any positive light to that, the last first baseman that had COVID-19 at the beginning of the season missed all of spring training, won a National League MVP last year. So,
the Braves claim Heredia. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, not a bad depth outfielder at that point. Guillermo Heredia. He's been pretty good as a defensive player type guy. So good if Inciarte's hurt, I guess.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. lost an insane amount of weight during the offseason. I heard he lost about 50 pounds.
Yeah, you said, I think, a month ago or so on the Weekend Crunch that you think he's a sleeper for MVP.
Oh, I think he's going to be the MVP this year. I do. I think the Blue Jays could squeak into the playoffs, especially coming out of that division. But I think Vladimir Guerrero is going to have an insane year. Mariners prospect Kalinick says team is punishing him for refusing to sign a contract extension.
Good, trade it back to the Mets.
Are you hearing about the Seattle owner?
Oh my God,
crazy?
yeah, that's awful. I mean, yeah, get rid of it. Good thing he stepped out on his own because that's just disgraceful what he was doing.
He lost his mind. NHL rumors and news. Canadians fire Claude Julien. Appoint Dominic Ducharme interim head coach. What do you think about that?
Terrible move. Claude Julien is one of the better coaches in the league. He's got a great defensive style, physical
Watch
style.
out, New York Rangers.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's worth a shot. The Rangers have had physicality in years, not since I've been watching. That's a terrible move. I know they had a small slump right now, but their team is not that good, and they were overperforming. Even though the division's not great, they were overperforming at points during the year.
And the final story, Panarin assault allegations don't add up for former teammates in Russia. Did you hear about that story?
Yeah, apparently when he was in the KHL in 2011, he was allegedly assaulting an 18-year-old woman, and a coach accused him, a KHL coach accused him of
Was it his daughter?
No, it was not, but it was another.
I mean, this is a crazy story, and the story is coming out from Russia that he is trying to get his family out of Russia because of some of the things that he has said outside the NHL. And I understand why Panarin is taking a step away from the New York Rangers. I know a lot of Ranger fans are having a knip, because they're so worried that he is not going to play for the rest of the season. I talked to the Beeve last night, and he is worried that Panarin might not step on the ice for the rest of the season. which it won't matter because the Rangers aren't making the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. But
if he did what he did, then he shouldn't.
Well, I don't know if it's true, and I know that everybody, when it comes to being a superstar athlete or a big-time athlete, people are going to talk about it, and people are going to try to throw you under the bus. So I'm not surprised that we've been hearing this story. We're not. And I'm not going to be surprised that there'll be more stories coming out on that end as well. So anyways, that was sports and entertainment news, but I really want to get into quickly this Tiger Woods thing, and I want to talk about a little basketball and some baseball before we get our special guest on the show. Tiger Woods got into a bad car accident yesterday. A lot of people, if you watch and you actually seen it on the news, it was a really, really bad accident. Now, I don't know if he was on drugs, he was drinking, but an accident like that, you would have to really be out of whack to go practically over a hill and spin out and just completely crash your car. Tiger Woods had shattered his ankle in, like some people say, in many, many different pieces. And I don't know if Tiger Woods is ever going to play again. I don't know.
So now.
With the back injury that he has, and we were hearing that Tiger Woods was not going to play in the Masters. He was not going to play early this season. Now you're not going to see him all season long. Will you see Tiger Woods ever play again? And the answer is, being that he has a significant amount of injuries, this ankle injury, you're getting screws put in your leg. It's off his driving leg. I don't see Tiger Woods ever coming back.
I think the only way he would play is like a celebrity type thing, like you saw with Phil Mickelson a couple of years ago. But even that's probably years and years away, just for the big name's sake, just because of the condition he's in. I also heard he fractured part of his lower leg too, which was the even worse part of why a lot of the doctors and also the sheriff that found him in LA thought that might have been life-threatening because of what happened with his leg. He's in a little more of a stable condition now. He's able to move and respond a little bit. I know you were talking about the alcohol thing. I heard that one preliminary autopsy said it wasn't in his system, or at least a lot of it wasn't.
Autopsy, he didn't die.
Or whatever, but one initial reading of it said it wasn't a lot of alcohol in his system, but we'll see on the drugs, though.
Well, we all know the background of Tiger Woods and what he has taken in the past and what he has done in the past, but I hope there's nothing found in it and it was just a complete accident. But it's a shocking story. It was all over the news yesterday. It was the big story here in New York. It was a big story all over the country because it's Tiger Woods, one of the greatest, if not the greatest golfer to ever play the game. You can argue him and Jack Nicklaus, but you look at what Tiger Woods was trying to do, the comeback, the championship that he had last year, played very, very well throughout certain parts of the season when he came back. It's a shame. It really is a shame because he was on his way. He wanted to win 2 more titles to try to tie or pass Jack Nicklaus. It's unfortunate. I don't think he'll ever break that title.
No, I don't think he'll play anything organized again. Like I said, I think the only thing he would play maybe is a celebrity thing. That's really it.
It's it is a sad story, and anybody that's a Tiger Woods fan and stands out that Tiger Woods is their hero, and a lot of people still think Tiger Woods is their hero. I mean, there's a lot of things that Tiger Woods has done in the past, and there are a lot of players, a lot of athletes in the past that have done stupid things and had to somehow or some way try to get the fans back on their side. And I think Tiger Woods did do that last year after winning that title. And a lot of people thought he was going to win another one. But unfortunately, with the back injuries that he's had, the drug injuries the drug stuff that he's had, the background of some of the stuff that he's done in the past has affected his career. So it's very, very unfortunate. Thank God Tiger Woods lived through that accident.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I want to get into some basketball conversation. And we've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to talk a little baseball, well, a lot of baseball with Greg Golson when we get him on. But I will say this, and I looked at the All-Star game, and I look at all the All-Star picks, and finally Julius Randle made the team. I would have been really, really surprised if Julius Randle didn't make this team. He's one of the best power forwards in the league this year. He's solidified himself as one of the top guys in the league, and he deserved to make this team. Now, it was really at the end of the last couple of picks when Julius Randle made the team. And I will say this: making the All-Star team means nothing. It really doesn't. I know a lot of people want to make the All-Star team because you get the chance to play with some of the great players, and I don't even know if there's going to be an All-Star game for the NBA.
I know
anyways.
a lot of people think that these players are going to be very disinterested in it.
Well, obviously with the COVID-19 situation, and that there's not going to be a huge amount of crowd. It's not going to be a lot of people going to the game. If they do allow 10% or 15% of the people, what is that going to be? 15, 10,000 people, maybe even less than that. So would it even matter if you go into play in the All-Star game? Now, obviously, the festivities, if there's any festivities, where's the All-Star game going to be this year? Atlanta? So Atlanta is actually open, so you can actually go to the clubs and wear your mask. But it to me, making the All-Star team to a lot of people is like winning an MVP. I don't understand why. But they want to experience the weekend. They want their families to experience the weekend with them, with all the hard work and dedication that they put in the off season and getting to where they are in the middle of the season. I think that's why they want to experience the great All-Star game. But were you surprised at any of the guys that made the All-Star team?
I was a little surprised with Anthony Davis, even though he's a great player. He's had a kind of down year. He's been hurt. He made it to the Western team as a reserve. And again, that's probably one of those things where, all right, he's on the Lakers. It's a popularity contest. But honestly, two guys I thought deserved it more was Devin Booker for one. I don't know how he didn't make it with the way the Suns have been playing this year. He's been tremendous. And Mike Conley with the way Utah's been this year. Donovan Mitchell obviously made it as a reserve, but Conley is another guy that's had a great year for them. Both Mitchell and Gobert made it as a reserve. So I'm surprised, unless they have to have a limitation with front court, back court players that I didn't know about. I'm surprised that somebody like Booker didn't make it over Davis.
I'm not surprised that the NBA, it's a favoritism sport, and it's all about the fans. The fans vote. That's how you get into the All-Star game. Except maybe 5 or 6 picks, the last couple of picks. That's
the coaches pick, I think, the reserves.
Yeah,
they
like the 6 picks. And the starters get picked by the fans. So I didn't expect Julius Randle to be picked by the fans. Obviously, the New York Knicks are one of the most hated teams in professional basketball. So you would have to be a big-time superstar, LeBron James-esque, to be picked by the fans. But
plus, everyone's enticed with the Nets now, so they're going to get more as well.
Why are they enticed with the Nets? Because of James Harden and Kevin Durant and
James
Kyrie? Did all three of them make it?
No, James Harden wasn't even a starter. James Harden made it as a reserve, but Kyrie and Durant were both starters.
How are they both starters? How did Kyrie Irving, who missed a week worth of basketball, make it as a starter?
Yeah, I was surprised at that too, but the East really isn't as strong as it's been with point guards, though, this year. Maybe that's what they were judging on. Like I said, there might be some positional thing for why Davis made it, like I said, with the Western Conference, and maybe that was the same kind of thing in the East with Kyrie, because the other starters were Giannis and Durant, and then the two Sixers with Embiid and Simmons. They both made it as well. So I don't know what was the basis of the positional thing. I know in baseball and football they specify, but basketball with less positions, like formalities, I don't know really what it is.
And we're going to get into baseball in just 1 second because we're going to get Greg Golson on. But getting into baseball, I mean, this Trevor Bauer thing has been crazy. It's been really, really crazy all over social media. Not only are some of the Mets getting involved with it, Marcus Stroman has gotten involved with it. We've heard Syndergaard get involved with it. There are other players now in the major leagues talking out on Trevor Bauer, speaking up and saying the things that he has said, the outlandish things he's been saying on Twitter. Listen, I think Trevor Bauer is just trying to sell tickets. I really do. I know when the baseball season starts, there's not going to be much of a crowd, but I do believe that as the season progresses, there's 162 games. As the stadium starts to open and the governors and the mayors start allowing fans, more and more fans go to the games. I think it's all about selling tickets. And I think Trevor Bauer is a big time mouth of baseball. And this is a guy that has rediscovered himself as a player. Remember, he was coming from the bullpen. He was a bullpen player. The Cleveland Indians gave him an opportunity to be a starter because of injury, and he's really developed himself into to me, one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. I know Josh Silverberg does not like him, and that
Josh just has a personal vendetta. I guess.
No, because he didn't pick the Mets, and I know that's why he doesn't like him. Because if he went to the Mets, he was so happy, and I can't believe that you would sit there and not admit that he was one of the people that said that. Oh my God, having Trevor Bauer is going to really solidify our pitching staff. We're going to have the best pitching staff in baseball. And then all of a sudden, he decided to go to the Dodgers, and now he hates the guy. So it sounds like the Mets fans. It really does, but. I think Trevor Bauer is a guy that likes to speak his piece. And there's a lot of players that do that in professional sports. Kevin Durant, who has his seven different Twitter feeds. You have Steph Curry over the years. LeBron James has spoken up. We've heard how many baseball players over the years, Alex Rodriguez, not on social media, but out in the open in the press,
Right.
speaking up what he thinks. Because Alex Rodriguez was an old-timer guy. He wasn't into that social media thing. And he's still not. If you go to Alex Rodriguez's Twitter feed, you will not. How many times you see him post? You see more with J-Lo than you do with Alex.
Yeah, well, that was going to happen anyway. But yeah, it's his Twitter seems like it was very professional. I think his profile is like just a picture of one of his foundations too.
Yeah, I don't see Alex Rodriguez being that guy. Either is Derek Jeter. He's not a social media whore, and that's what we call him. He's not. So you look at some of these athletes. Trevor Bauer is a social media whore. That's what he is. He likes to go on social media, likes to speak his piece. He likes to start trouble all of social media. If nobody likes him or somebody puts out an article about him that he doesn't like, he speaks up. He says what he says. And how many times have we hear that some people have taken shots at his science with baseball and pitching, as far as the pitcher is concerned, and some of the exercises he does in the offseason. Meanwhile, there are a lot of pitchers that are working out with guys like Trevor Bauer in the offseason because of the way he trains and he trains his arm. And Trevor Bauer, he's never torn his ACL. He's never, his UCL. He's never had Tommy John surgery. He's never had shoulder problems. A lot of it has to do with his conditioning and his arm strength. So to me, I think Trevor Bauer understands the game, understands the pitching part of the game. I just don't understand why Trevor Bauer has to go out there and take shots in outlandish ways to other players in the league, especially people like, players like some of the Mets, like Noah Syndergaard, who has not said anything to Trevor Bauer until he took shots at him. Marcus Stroman. I know Marcus Stroman personally. He's from Patchogue. I'm from Patchogue. Marcus Stroman will speak up for his players, because Marcus Stroman has he's got a mouth on him. So I'm not surprised that Trevor Bauer is speaking out, and I won't be surprised that as the season progresses, he's going to have problems with some of the players on the Dodgers, because there are a lot of guys like Mookie Betts, and who's a very quiet guy. He doesn't really speak up much. He does speak to the press when he's supposed to, but he's not a guy that's going to go out there and take shots at players, and he's not one of those guys. Either is Clayton Kershaw. He's not one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's a team player. If something happens or the Dodgers start to lose this year, have a 5 or 6 or 7 game losing streak, and they're talking about maybe firing their manager again. We heard that last year
too, but
we heard that last year.
They won the World Series,
and
so
then they
that's not gonna
started
happen.
playing well in the second half of the season. At the end of the second half, and then when it made that run, which won them the World Series, again. If they go on a 7-8 game losing streak, and Trevor Bauer is not pitching well, and he's the highest paid pitcher in baseball, there could be a lot of problems over there in LA Dodger Town. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to a Dodger scout. We will be talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodger scout Greg Golson here on Below the Mic.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
As you guys know, this is Below the Mic. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on iOS, which is Apple, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well, I had to bring up the Dodgers. I just had to. Okay, so I knew we were getting a Dodgers scout on, so I had to bring up Trevor Bauer. I had to throw him under the bus, so why not? So finally, we get our first guest of the show. We are now talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodgers scout, Greg Golson. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I appreciate you making the seat a little hot before I get on here talking about the Dodgers.
Well, it's not us making it hot. It was Trevor Bauer making it hot. As soon as he signs a contract with the Dodgers, within a week, this guy is all over social media. He's taking shots at Met pitchers. Then he's taking shots at organization owners and all this other stuff. I mean, the guy is outlandish, to say the least, but he's fun to listen to. I could say that. He really sticks out like a sore thumb, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, he's I think his salary makes him stick out a little bit more as well. But I mean, if you look at what he's done on the field, that's going to get attention too. I just think, he's got a lot of attention on him. So what he says is going to get magnified even more. With baseball players, especially in the clubhouse and, through, I guess dealing with other baseball players, there's just kind of a different type of, there's a different type of air, about the conversation. Baseball players are notoriously very rough around the edges, I guess. Don't really sugarcoat what they want to say. So I think it's just kind of a, overlap of two worlds. Maybe sometimes some stuff gets taken out of context or stuff gets blown up because it's, it is in the social media realm. But, I don't, what you said about, Bauer maybe ruffling some feathers on the Dodgers, I don't see that happening.
Well, as you guys know, we are talking to former MLB outfield and current Dodgers scout, Greg Golson. Now, Greg, first of all, how are you and your family doing with this pandemic? Are you guys safe? Has anybody in your family come down with COVID-19?
No, everybody's pretty good. I mean, everybody thought we had something like, I think January last year we got sick and it wasn't classified as the flu, but I think ever since then, everybody's been pretty much healthy. My parents are in Texas, so they went through the winter craziness, but everything other than that, everything's been pretty good.
Before we get into your career, were you surprised that the Dodgers made a move like that after winning the World Series and solidifying what they've been trying to do for the last, 20-some-odd years, and they haven't won a World Series, and then finally making a move for Mookie Betts, adding one of the top 3 players in baseball, and then going all the way to the World Series the way they did and finally winning a World Championship? Were you surprised that they went after a guy like Trevor Bauer?
I mean, I think, anytime a name like that gets added, you're kind of somewhat surprised because, he pretty much had his pick of where he wanted to go to, I think. But I think, a lot of people forget we're adding David Price too, and I think there's just a lot of, there's a lot of momentum that, we kind of want to capture. And I think adding a guy like Trevor Bauer is definitely going to add a little bit more.
So during the playoffs and during the season last year, obviously it was kind of that boomer bust type year for the Dodgers after losing in the playoffs the way they did against the Nationals, blowing a 2-1 lead, the late game collapse. At what moment in the season and also during the playoffs last year did you say, all right, this team is different, they're on a redemption story? Because remember, they were also down 3-1 to the Braves too.
I mean, baseball, anything can happen, but I think seeing the effect that Mookie had on a lot of guys in spring training and just knowing the pitching staff that we had, as long as, we stayed healthy, I felt like we had a good chance, not saying anything about other teams, but it just seemed like, the core that we had, with Mookie seemingly making everybody better, including the catchers, including, guys that were playing, smaller roles. So I think whenever you add a player like Mookie or, Trevor Bauer, the players around them tend to get better because just by proximity, I guess. So I think I'd say, I can't really say it was a 60 game season, so you can't say at a specific point, but I'd say around the halfway point was when I was like, okay, these guys are starting to pick up steam.
So, Greg, I see your career, and I know a little bit about you because you played for the Yankees, and I remember you. I do remember when you played for the Yankees. So let's go back. Let's go back in your career. You were a Philadelphia Phillies prospect, and you grew up in that farm system. And tell us a little bit, when you got that first call up, what was it like being called up to the major leagues and stepping first time on the field in Philadelphia?
Well, actually, the first time I stepped on the field was in D.C.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
That was D.C. was the first one, and that was a brand new stadium at the time. Well, I wouldn't say brand new, but it was a newer stadium at the time. So, I think that kind of made it even more sparkling and shining because everything was new. But the one thing I noticed when I walked out onto the field was how big and how black the batter's eye was. And I was like, man, I'll be able to see anything that comes my way here. That was something that I did notice too. It was just like, I don't know, the game speeds up, I guess, a little bit, but only because it's just so crisp. But at the same time, I don't know, like everything that is there is designed for you to succeed, So that was something that was kind of breathtaking, coming from the minor leagues and, having it be, I guess, storied and talked about so much. And then when you get there, it still blows you away. I'd say that would be the best way to describe it.
So you actually played for a lot of successful teams. 2008 Phillies that ended up winning the World Series. You were a little unlucky after that. You played for the Rangers the year before they went to the World Series, and the Yankees right after that, where they lost in the NLCS ALCS one of them times to the Rangers. But all very good teams. So talk about some of your favorite moments that you had, your favorite games, and also were there any teammates that stood out to you, both either talent-wise or even like a personality? And do you have any good stories with one of them?
I grew up. I wouldn't say idolizing Derek Jeter, but I grew up, liking the guys who kept their nose clean and were just kind of the faces of baseball. So, when I remember sitting in the dugout, I think it was a day game or something, and Jeter had got a single to knock out the pitcher that was on the mound. So during the pitching change, he comes into the dugout, and I'm just kind of sitting at the step where first base is. And he grabs some water, and he's just kind of leaning forward. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm going to go first move on this guy. And I'm like, this is really, I'm sitting here like, man, this is really cool. Like I got like a little insider information. I'm going to see what he's doing. So he gets up there, he gets his lead, and then he goes first move and gets picked off. So he gets out and then he comes back in the dugout. And when he gets right to me and he's like, well, that didn't work. And that was kind of like, I don't know. That was one of the funnier moments because it was like, I wouldn't say, I don't know, you put them up on this level and you see that, he dealt with failure in a way that was kind of humorous. So that was one of the things that kind of allowed me to relax. But to your second question about, guys who stood out to me, Curtis Granderson was probably, the guy was awesome. You know what I mean? What's crazy is before I got to the Yankees, I had heard so many people tell me that I reminded them of Curtis Granderson. So when I got to the Yankees, he was like, hey, you wanna stay at my place? He offered me to stay when I got called up. And I was like, no, I'll just stay at the hotel because at the time I was getting a free hotel. You get 7 free nights. So after that homestand, he had asked me if I wanted to stay with him. I was like, no, I'll just stay at the hotel. So another week goes by and the next homestand comes by and he's like, you sure you want to stay at the hotel? I know it's getting expensive. And I'm like, yeah, let me come on by. So he hooked me up with a spot. He kind of took me under his wing. And unfortunately I wasn't there long enough because we had a bunch of injuries and a bunch of different roles that guys were playing. But, Curtis was probably one of the most professional and helpful people for me.
We are talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodgers scout Greg Golson. Now, Curtis Granderson, I met Curtis Granderson I met him a couple of times. I met him with the Yankees. I met him with the Mets. And it was so funny. I was hanging out right by the field, and Curtis was signing autographs. And he says, "You want an autograph?" I said, "No, thank you. I would like your hat." And he says, "Maybe at the end of the game, I'll throw it to you." That's what he told me. But Curtis Granderson, I always thought Curtis Granderson was great as a media guy. I really think he's a great play-by-play guy. I think he was like, he should get that ESPN job that Alex Rodriguez has, because I don't think Alex is any good at what he does. I'm just being honest. I think Curtis Granderson, he's funny, he has outgoing, he's got stories. Every time I met him, he would tell me a story, a funny story. I said, give me a story that, and he always had a story. And I think he would be a fabulous coach, manager, batting. And everybody knows what solidified his career, what made his career even better was him coming to the Yankees and Long taking him under his wing, and Kevin Long actually helping his swing out, made him become even more of a solidified what do they call
power
that?
hitter?
Not a power hitter. It was always a power.
He was a 5-tool player.
It was more of a. He was more of a dink and dunk type of player now, because he was always a power hitter with the Detroit Tigers. He would get on base. He would either steal or hit for power or strike out. He always struck out. But when he came to the Yankees, he became more of an all-around hitter. And I think that was because of Kevin Long. And he used to tell me a ton of stories about Kevin Long. And when he actually went to the Mets, when Kevin Long was there, he was so excited because he thought he was going to, his game was going to completely change. So Curtis Granderson was one of the more nicer athletes I've ever met, like straight up. So you telling the story, it absolutely sticks out like a sore thumb. But what is it like now, being that you're retired as a professional athlete and the Dodgers reach out to you and ask you to become a scout for them? What was it like? How did this happen? And were you looking to work some way or another as a manager, as a scout? What was your goal after retiring from baseball?
Well, no one really accepts their retirement unless you're Derek Jeter or, Curtis Granderson types where you get a year-long, farewell. I kind of wanted to play one more year in 2019, and that whole year I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to coach, if I wanted to scout, basically what I wanted to do. And those are basically the two routes you get. You can coach or scout in affiliated, or you can do your own thing private. And I really wasn't feeling the private just because, I don't know, I wanted I don't know. I guess I wanted the clout. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I guess feeling like, I was still contributing, to a large scale operation is something that I wanted to do. So when I applied, I was talking to someone with the Atlantic League trying to get, just basically trying to get information on how to, do the next thing. And they mentioned, the Dodgers were looking for a hitting coach. So I applied for that hitting coach job, and ultimately I didn't get it, obviously. But they said you should try this one. You should try, this scouting gig. You might be good at it. And after a bunch of interviews, they let me know probably a week before my wedding that I'd gotten the job. And it's funny that you asked what was it like? I didn't really know. They kept asking me like, how would you evaluate this player or that player? And it's like, I was just trying to forecast how I was going to do it, because I'd never scouted. But, now that I look at it now, my whole career, I was kind of scouting, like I'd be in center field and I'd hear somebody in the bullpen warming up. And between pitches, I'm looking at, the guy warming up, seeing what he's got. And, I didn't realize how much that would come in handy, especially last year when I was doing mostly video scouting. So I wasn't like right there. So being able to kind of gauge, what, I guess the hitter's reaction, how the ball's getting there, how the catcher's catching, all these things that kind of let you know what the pitcher's got before you're there. Because, writing, doing the scouting, a lot of times, obviously you're not in the box, so you can't say this guy's got a good breaking ball or this or that. But I know using my experience, I feel like it's given me a little bit of I wouldn't say leg up, but it's helped that transition a little bit more, because I feel like a lot of scouts at the earlier parts, or at least I feel like when you're a young scout, it's probably hard to find your voice, like you're coming in with guys who are scouting for 20 years and you're saying, I like this guy, I don't like this guy. And you've got to stick by your word. So I think having that experience has helped me to kind of grow a little bit faster than most people would expect.
So how smooth was the transition with different concepts, with the sabermetrics that are now available, with the analytics, with different prospects? It's not just about the numbers on the field. It's also how they develop players now. Also, do you think if you had those kinds of numbers available to you when you would you want those numbers available to you when you started playing, or do you think it was something like you'd rather have it the way you were playing? And again, how has that helped you as a scout, if that's the case?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because before I got this job, I spent a lot of time on baseball Twitter, which is a terrible place to be. But, I was on baseball Twitter, and there's just this ongoing fight between old school and new school going on, and I think that's in every industry, everywhere, And what's funny is now that I'm on this side, there's a ton of collaboration between, the R&D, or what baseball Twitter calls nerds, and the jocks. There's a ton of collaboration, and I found that a lot of the sabermetric stuff, it's just another language. It's speaking the same subject though. Like the stuff that the sabermetric says, and I'm not trying to come off as arrogant or cocky when I say this, but the stuff that the sabermetric says is the stuff that I spent 16 years kind of honing. So what my eyes see, the numbers are saying. So where I feel like it's helped the transition is once I figure out the correlation to what the sabermetric is to what my experience shows, then it's kind of like a cheat, like, oh, this sabermetric means what I'd known for 12 years because of this certain lesson that I learned. So it's interesting when you realize that, baseball Twitter is just arguing the same thing, right. But I guess from my perspective, because I had so many different coaches, I was doing I was doing the numbers, but just blind, I had trouble hitting breaking balls. So I tried to change my swing plane a little bit, I didn't have the numbers to do it, but, I was still able to try to make an adjustment, and ultimately it helped. But I would say, I think if you don't know what you're doing essentially what I did for my career, where you're just kind of shooting in the dark. But at the same time, it kind of, you've got to know what you're doing. Like some people that are, pushing a lot of the numbers and the sabermetric stuffs in order to improve players, a lot of times they don't really know what they're looking at. Like, for instance, the Dodgers have so many resources to, debate and decide and try to figure out what this stuff means. Whereas if you've got, a private individual that is trying to figure out how to change this little tiny metric, and they haven't, gone to school for, biomechanics, it's going to be difficult for them to kind of make those things translate. So I don't know. I feel like with my experience, the sabermetrics has just kind of allowed me to be able to speak to the R&D and the I guess the nerds, because some of the stuff that I would say they might not understand because they didn't play.
We are talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodgers scout, Greg Golson. Now, Greg, I'm a Yankee fan, and I never got an opportunity to step on the field and step into the box and take a swing in Yankee Stadium. I never got a chance to do that, even as a professional athlete. I could have been a professional hockey player. It's a long story behind that. But what was it like stepping out of the dugout in Yankee Stadium and stepping to the plate for the first time, and them and somebody announcing your name? What was it like being at that time in that perfect spot in, day or night? What was it like?
When you're in that moment, it's kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's I don't know, like you play your whole life, and then you get to that stage, you kind of let the moment pass before you enjoy it, I guess, because there's so much, I wouldn't say so much riding on it, but, to me personally, there was so much riding on it every at bat, trying to break into the big leagues, trying to make a name for yourself. So, you don't really have that wide-eyed moment, especially in baseball, because, the action is so active, I guess. Once the pitch is thrown, you're in it. You're not thinking about where you're at. And when the pitch isn't thrown, you're thinking you're in the game as well, and you're trying to prepare for the next step. But, I'd say that moment comes in batting practice, or when there's nobody in the stands and you go out there And that's when it's just kind of like the moment sets in, and it's like, not necessarily I'm here, but this is your moment, like Eminem type stuff. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of get real amped up and you're ready to go. I'd say that's when it was.
Interesting.
So as an outfielder, is there, whether it was a ballpark that was a home ballpark to you or an away ballpark, was there any outfields, because they're all different dimensions, that really stood out to you as being your favorites to play in, or maybe the toughest ones to play in? And also, was there any pitcher if you were hitting, or a batter that you were a defensive player against that you really just wanted to win a battle against, and who would it be and why?
Well, I hated playing in Boston.
We hate Boston.
I picked the right one to call on, right? I just remember playing right field and thinking and looking to my left and seeing the foul pole like maybe 20 feet away, and then looking back and seeing it looked like a football field away where the fence is, and it's like, they should have two fielders over here. And then you go to left and it's like you're playing shortstop. It's just kind of, you have to take all those dimensions into account. And then when you're hitting, I remember taking batting practice in Boston, and like normally when you're hitting, you just try to spray like up the middle or whatever. It is so hard to not just turn your shoulders a little bit and try to hit it over the green monster. So, those are the types of things where it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weighing on you, especially in the game. I imagine in a big moment, it's so easy to be like, if I just get a little early on this, I could hit a home run and it's probably make a name for myself. And I imagine that's probably how a lot of rookies end up striking out. You know what I mean? Like looking for that wall. And anytime you face somebody, I'd say that's when you really, really want to. Like I faced some guys that, are Cy Young winners or really, really good pitchers, and you obviously want to do well against them. But when you're facing like your buddy that you work out with in the off season, and you can really like rub it in afterwards, or get on base and like make a sign to him. Baseball, you kind of have to be. I don't know anymore, but in baseball, you kind of have to be respectful, especially on base, because there's so many ups and downs. But when you get a hit against your friend or you strike out your friend, they don't live it down until they get another chance, and it's that much more heightened as far as the stakes.
Well, don't say that to Alex Rodriguez or Trevor Bauer, because they're two of the most hated players to ever step on a baseball field. So, anyways, as you guys know, we are talking to former MLB outfielder and current Dodger scout Greg Golson. Before we let you go, my friend, the season is about to begin. We have spring training starting this weekend. You have pitchers and catchers. Everybody is talking about it. The Dodgers are the favorites again to come out of the National League. The Yankees are the favorites to come out of the American League. Are you surprised that the Dodgers this year again are the favorites to come out of the National League and the favorites to win the whole thing? And who is your surprise team? What team in the National League and the American League is going to stick out to you like a sore thumb and could be a championship competitive team moving in to the new season?
That's a good question. The Braves got active really early.
Yes, they did.
I think the Braves, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Marlins too after what they did last year.
Really?
I think we just traded somebody to the Marlins as well.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the relief pitchers.
Yeah. But I think the NL West is always kind of up in the air, with those cities. When they get hot, they get hot. And as far as the Dodgers, am I surprised that they're the favorite? I mean, Andrew Friedman, like he's a magician. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think. I don't know. I don't want anybody to get complacent. It's, once you win a championship, it gets harder, I feel like. And I feel like the Padres have definitely put their best foot forward. I don't even know if they're finished adding to what they're doing. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a good year. Hopefully we get to play all 162 of them, and hopefully everything goes the right way.
Are you excited to get your ring? I know you're waiting for that.
Yeah, I actually just sent off the measurements. They asked me if I wanted you got 3 sizes, and I picked the biggest one. I actually wrote in, I was like, is there a bigger? Can I get a bigger?
Well, we know you're not going to wear it on your finger then.
Yeah, well, I'll have to put it on this one. I mean, who knows?
Maybe he's trying to wear them on two different fingers.
Well, I'm actually very close with Charlie Slows, the voice of the Nationals. And when the Nationals won the World Series and he got his ring in the mail, he was flossing it to me. And I was like, wow, can I hold that? He's like, not a day in hell.
Well, I will definitely take as many opportunities as I can to floss it because I feel like I contributed on this one.
Absolutely.
I got one with the Phillies, but I was a reserve guy, so.
Oh, stop! You're still part of the organization. You deserve it, man. I mean, I see there are people. The ball boys get rings. I mean, why?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Obviously, I'm proud of it, but this one's a little more special to me.
Of course,
Greg, as a Mets fan, I wish you were starting more than Pat Burrell was on that.
But listen, Greg, I definitely want to get you on again, especially when the season starts. We'll talk a little Dodger baseball. I would like to know, by the way, who's your top prospect right now? And is there a specific prospect that that you've been scouting that is in the farm system of the Dodgers that we should look out for?
I mean, we're pretty deep, man.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
You saw May last year, and you saw Lux 2 years ago. But Josiah Gray, I like him, and I do like Lux a lot. I'm not as up on our organization as much because I'm spending all my time watching other orgs. So this year, when I go to spring, I'm going to definitely try to watch our guys a little bit more. But I'd say Lux and May, they're the guys that are probably next up.
Josiah Gray, before I started working with this network, I actually broadcasted in his summer league team, the Danbury Westerners, with my college radio station. So I actually got to see him play 2016 and 2017, nicknamed JoJo by his Western teammates there.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for him that Bauer's there, kind of moved him back, and Price is there, kind of moved him back. But I think he's definitely one of the guys who will have a bright future.
Well, you're going to have a bright future too, and maybe in the future you become a manager in the major leagues. That could possibly happen. For a lot of scouts. A lot of scouts get that opportunity, and all you got to do is stand out from all the other scouts. And listen, your personality, you were a Yankee, so you have a New York state of mind. You can do anything, man. I'm sure you can.
I appreciate that, man.
So we definitely want to get you on when the season starts. Sometime in the middle of the season, we'll get you on again. We'll talk a little Dodgers baseball, maybe your thoughts of what's going on in the MLB as the season progresses. But we really appreciate you joining us, Greg.
And thanks for having me on. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we were just talking to MLB outfield and current Dodgers scout Greg Golson. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Really, really nice guy. Great personality. And I think with his personality and all his hard work, he might get an opportunity to be a manager. Why not?
I could see that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially with his knowledge now with the scouting, because a lot of managers, again, they take it from the front offices with the advanced numbers that go into it now. And if he has that kind of advantage already, that's going to help him a lot if that's what he wants to do.
I mean, Aaron Boone, and nobody's like Aaron Boone. He's an analyst, and then he becomes the Yankees manager. I mean, Aaron Boone's the luckiest person in the world. He's on ESPN for 3-4 years, and then you have Brian Cashman reaching out to him saying, "How would you like interviewing with the New York Yankees?" He get interviews, and within a week, he's the new manager for the New York Yankees. So why couldn't Greg get the opportunity? If not with the Dodgers, there are 32 other teams in the major leagues that he can manage in the future. And being that he has a personality, he's very soft-spoken, and he knows the game. You heard what he said. He knows the game. He understands the game, and the game is supposed to be fun. If even watching the game, I'm not a baseball player. I'm not an ex-baseball player, but even now, when you talk to ex-baseball players and we've interviewed a lot of them and had conversations with them, and they say that they look at the game completely different now that they're not players. And some of them are scouts, some of them are managers or college managers. All of them have their own thoughts to what the game is now that they're not playing in the game anymore. But being that he is soft-spoken and he knows the game so very well, and the sabermetrics, like you were saying, it's changed the game. Sabermetrics has changed the game of baseball. It no question has. And you see the game, the difference of some of these players. Look at what Mike Trout is doing. I mean, Mike Trout, if he played in the 60s and the 70s, he'd probably go down as the greatest baseball player ever to play the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously. Now you watch him now, and the sabermetrics would show you that his numbers are so outlandishly great that they're comparable to Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, Willie Mays. I mean, you're talking about arguably when he's done with his career, if he stays healthy, could go down as the greatest athlete, the greatest baseball player ever to step on a field.
I forget what the stat was, but I saw something on Twitter yesterday. Him and Mickey Mantle right now are the only ones to do that. It was one of those like larger advanced stats, and that's where it is right now. That's how good he has been in this era, and really in any era if he played in any era.
Mike Trout is the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of great baseball players. Alex Rodriguez. I'm not a big Derek Jeter fan, but Derek Jeter. We've seen some of the greats, and I've seen Wade Boggs. I've seen I'm not going to pop in my head Ken Griffey Jr., but all the great baseball players from the late '80s, early '90s, Mike Piazza. I've seen great. The greatest baseball player I've ever seen in front of my eyes on the just watching the game is Mike Trout. Is sensational. 5-tool player, sensational, can catch, can throw, can run, can hit for power. I mean, the guy is going to go down as one of the top 3, top 2 greatest baseball players ever to play the game. And and he's not cheating. He gets drug tested, and you've heard what he said about steroid users, that they should be banished from baseball. So when you hear it from a guy like Mike Trout and just the game as a whole, and hearing it from Greg telling you the game and the way Sabermetrics, he looks at Sabermetrics the same way he looks at the game when he played, so it's the same thing. When you're swinging at a curveball and you have an arch in your swing, what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to speed up the bat. You know what I mean? That's what you're going to try to do. Or you're going to try to slow up the bat to hit the off-speed pitch, the changeup.
The concepts will always be the same in terms of the visuals of hitting the baseball and fielding and all that stuff. But I was curious with Greg, when we had him on, because the launch angle makes a difference. The bat speed that a lot of hitters now stress now. You wonder, again, if a lot of the players, because, again, analytics were around then, but it wasn't the big deal like it is now. Mm-hmm. You had the Moneyball athletics. You had, again, certain small market teams that succeeded with it, but it wasn't the prevalent thing for developing players as much as it is now, where that's how they're taught to do it. They're taught to have that kind of launch angle and bat speed for extra power, and that's why you're seeing more, not smaller players and also players from different positions. Remember, it used to only be like first baseman that could hit for power, outfielders, third baseman, but now you're seeing shortstops that can hit for power and second baseman and even catchers that could hit for power now.
When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, is LeBron James the greatest athlete of our era? The greatest athlete, not the greatest player, the greatest athlete of our era. When we come back, I will argue that he is. When we come back here on Below the Mic.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is the Errol Marks, a.k.a. Below the Mic Show with Speedy Petey. Remember, you can call us at 631-500-0548. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well, before we just came back from break, I was reading something on Twitter. I'm not Twitter, Instagram, and on New York Jets fan. There was an update and a story that came out that the Patriots have reached out to the New York Jets about Sam Darnold. Now, I don't know how much that is true. I could definitely see the Patriots reaching out to the Jets and trying to see what the Jets want for Sam Darnold, and if it's worth the trade or worth the picks that they would have to move to get Sam Darnold. Listen, the Patriots. It doesn't look like Jimmy Garoppolo is going anywhere as of right now. What we've heard with John Lynch, he has come out and said that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the starting quarterback in the beginning of the season for the San Francisco 49ers. So that what it means is, ladies and gentlemen, there's a very good chance that the Jets could move on from Sam Darnold. And if they do, there's only a limited amount of teams and a limited amount of ways they could trade him and where they could trade him. And the Patriots could be one of those. It definitely could. Could you imagine him get traded to the Patriots?
That would be some deja vu for Jets fans.
Why do you say that?
Well, again, a lot of these over the years, Bill Belichick scooped up ex-Jets, ex-AFC East players and just made him work there. And now you're doing it to a quarterback? I mean, that would be even bigger of a
I couldn't see the Jets trading Sam Darnold to a team that they absolutely hated for years and have been killing them year in and year out, and then have to see this guy 2 times a year and actually play him, and then he becomes a superstar with Bill Belichick's offense and Josh McDaniels. Would you want to see that as a Jet fan? I wouldn't. I would not. This guy did not develop with my organization for 2.5 years, 3 years. He's still the youngest, one of the top 3, one of the top 4 youngest quarterbacks, one of the youngest players still in the NFL. And then all of a sudden, you're talking about trading him to the Patriots for maybe a second and a fourth, or maybe a second and a third, and then have to see him every single year for the next 10 years on your arch rival. I would not want to see that if I was a Jet fan. Mm-hmm. I would not. But before we get into the LeBron James saga, because I do believe, and I'm gonna argue why I think LeBron James in this era is the greatest athlete in professional sports. We have our second guest, Speedy.
All right, we are now talking to former NFL and XFL running back Trey Williams.
What's going on, Trey? How are you? How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
Hey, man, I'm mostly thankful, man. Shout out to Houston. Shout out to the family. Yeah, we good, man. Just water stopped for maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. And, that was pretty much it over on this end. But, mostly thankful. We prayed, and, we were good.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get into your career, your NFL career, were you surprised that the XFL didn't have much of a season and then all of a sudden closed down and became bankrupt? Are you surprised that Vince McMahon, who came out about a year and a half ago before he said that he was bringing back the XFL, that no matter what happens, he's sticking with the XFL and he's going to ride the XFL out, unlike what he did the first time? Were you surprised when you heard that he was canceling the XFL and they were going bankrupt? Were you surprised about that?
I wasn't surprised because the season before that, I was in the AAF, and that league shut down as well. So it was more of an eye-opening thing. Like, hey, you know what? Okay, I see what's going on. I just need to take things slow, continue to stay on my grind. That's really what it was. Just staying consistent. That was the first thing that popped up on my mind was, okay, all right, I'm not surprised, but I need to stay consistent, mentally and physically. So that was my thing, staying consistent with things and doing what I'm doing now.
So what kind of leap do you think the XFL as a league could take? Obviously, they're going to be off this year, but 2022 is their target year to return. They had a lot of success, but obviously before the pandemic shut it down. So both long-term growth-wise and, again, maybe expansion with more teams if it does get popular. What do you think is the pinnacle you could see the XFL being as a – obviously it's not going to surpass the NFL, but as a league in comparison to even other pro sports leagues?
Compared to, I've played in all three leagues, the AAF, the XFL, and the NFL. And, to be quite honest with you, the talent is there. You got guys from the NFL going to the XFL, you know what I'm saying? Now that's what we're trying to do. And so you still got professional talent out there. It's not like it's, any old body out there. It's really, professional talent out there. So I'm really excited, for the XFL. I'm excited to see what Dwayne Johnson has to offer. That's major for him. That was a big deal, for us as the athlete community. That was big for us. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia for, believing and keeping the dream alive.
As you guys know, we are talking to ex-NFL player, XFL player, Trey Williams, running back. By the way, Trey, when you look at the game of football and the running back position, we were talking to a running back yesterday, and an XFL running back, and you talk about the game and how it's transitioned, and the running backs with the way the league is, with the contracts, the way they are. Do you believe, as a running back, that the running back should be offered an earlier contract in their rookie contract than some of the other positions, being that as a running back, most running backs only play 4 to 6 years of an NFL career because of the position that they play and the beatings that they take?
Absolutely, because that's when we're at our prime, our prime. Of course, you still come in there and you got to learn as a rookie, but you can build from that. That would definitely be a benefit for the running backs. Of course, I'm for the running backs. So if we can immediately get our contracts, I'm for it. I'm with it. Shout out to those guys who actually got the big contracts. I wasn't one of those guys.
Trey, I've been arguing this for a long, long time. If you listen to our shows, I think the running back position is the biggest beating. You take the biggest beating when it comes to the running back position because you're running up the line of scrimmage. You're getting hit from defensive linemen, linebackers. You're getting hit by everybody. And I just don't think that they get enough. They get enough respect. And they don't get enough, even if you're a star running back. The Aaron Joneses. What's Aaron Jones going to get paid at free agency? $3.5-4 million. He's not going to make a lot of money as good as he is.
He'll get more than that.
I don't know about that. Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent this year, and he's going to be looking for that contract. And a lot of people are saying that Aaron Jones, a lot of people aren't going to offer him more than $4 to $5 million, maybe because of COVID-19. And I think he's worth a lot more than that. Are you surprised that players of Aaron Jones's caliber might not get that $12-15 million contract Ezekiel Elliott got?
The thing I feel like me honestly, if you getting paid M's, you already blessed. You blessed. That's a blessing by itself. So why not? At the end of the day, we don't come from much anyways. We don't really come from much. So having 5 M's in your pocket, 6 M's in your pocket, hey, why not? If it's okay as long as you're still producing. That's really the main thing. Is continuing to produce, man. And, I feel like Aaron Jones is that kind of caliber back to continue to produce and be consistent with it. It's just a matter of, like I said, consistency and continuing to believe in yourself. It's all the same thing.
So a big reason these contracts have been rarely given out is because of a lot of these coaches these days, they like to platoon running backs, especially a lot of these newer, younger offensive type coaches. So there's not as many quote unquote feature backs in the league anymore between the injuries and that. Do you think that trend is going to continue, or can you see an era of football kind of switch back to where you had those big featured backs? I mean, there's a couple now, guys like Derrick Henry, guys like Dalvin Cook, some guys like that, but it's not many of them anymore. Christian McCaffrey. Can you see it switching back?
Absolutely. Back to the you're talking about like back to Barry Sanders type of running backs, the Walter Paytons. Absolutely. And that's the thing. As running backs, we have a choice of how to run. It's either you want to run a guy over or you want to, go around or juke the guy, you know what I'm saying, and get a touchdown. Either way, we have our choice to run, how to fall, all of those things that come with being an athlete. So, my whole thing is be conservative with the way I run. With the way I run, it's going to be hard to really just get a good solid hit on me. If you got a solid hit on me, it's because you timed it up as the best as you can. That's how I'm looking at it as far as like how I run and how I'm, running to attack the defender's weak side, attack the defender's, weak side of, when they're trying to tackle me or, things of that nature. So it's all about being conservative when you run, so like you saying, like it can be a beating. It can be, if you aren't able to, move a certain way or, it can be a beating for you as a running back. But for the most part, I feel like for me, I've been playing professional ball 7 to 8 years. So going on 7, maybe 8 years. And like I said, it's about how you run. I chose to run conservatively and not be able to just take all the beating. I can take a hit, I can deliver the hit too, but it's about how you know what I'm saying, run and how you, do those things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a beating. For me, it wasn't really a beating for me.
We are talking to ex-NFL player and XFL running back Trey Williams. Trey, tell us a little bit about your career. Is there a specific spot, a specific team that you played for that really stood out in your career? And is there any particular story that you could tell us with some of the players that you played with that really stood out in your career that you can share with all the fans?
Let me think. I've played with so many teams, man. I've been on, like I said, I've been on 9 different NFL, not in the NFL, but professional teams, 7 different NFL teams. I would say my encounter with Tom Brady one time, man. And Tom Brady might not remember this, but I remember one time I went out there and it was cold. We were in Foxborough, and it's cold out there. It's cold. I'm like, I didn't dress up, properly for practice. I dressed up like I was in Texas, kind of, in a sense. So I went out there. As soon as I got out there, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how cold it is out here. And it's like a blizzard. And then somebody come from behind and, tap me on my butt or my ass. And he says, not your kind of weather, huh, Trey? And I see him walking away, not jogging away to get on the practice field. And I'm like, oh shit, that's Tom Brady. I was like, yeah, Tom. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I didn't know what to say at the time. It was just, that was one of my memorable encounters with, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever played with. So shout out Tom Brady.
Of any of the spots that you went to, were there any coaches that stood out to you in particular? Whether they were head coaches or even assistant coaches, because like you said, you played for 7 different NFL teams. So were there any coaches that stood out to you? And is there any backstories behind something they did or their personality?
One guy that stuck out to me was Chuck Pagano. He's a good guy. He overcame cancer, and one thing he said to the team one time, he said, you get to wake up, you get to play the game of football, you get to play the game of you get to play a professional game of football. In the NFL, you get to play in the NFL, you get to. And that was one thing that stuck with me with Chuck Pagano, because, I was like, man, that's really that kind of touched me a little bit, because, we get to, and this is a guy that, overcame cancer. He beat cancer. So, we get to, and that stuck with me. That was like a life, that was something that stuck with me for life. And, that stick with me to this day. We get to wake up. That's why I'm thankful. I'm thankful to this day,
One of our fans, Trey, asked you this. One of our fans asked Oh, yeah. Shout out to Chuck Pagano, who I think is one of the best defensive minds in the NFL right now. I really do think he is. And he had a sensational season last year as a defensive coordinator. So one of the fans asked me to ask you, what organization was run the best that you've played for?
That's tough. That's tough, but I'm gonna have to say, that's tough, man. That's tough. Which organization was ran the best? That's a tough question, bro. I give you top. I'll give you top three. I'll give you top three because I played for so many. It's like I played for 7 different teams, so I'll give you top three. And this is not in the order. It's just me just seeing how the top facilities, top stuff that they had. It was I say the Cowboys, the Steelers, and Cowboys, Steelers, and the Redskins. Those top three organizations.
Oh, hold on.
But the Cowboys had the best team.
Washington football team.
I mean, there were that at that time.
Washington football team. I was there when they were the Redskins. So
yeah, I know. I'm just messing around because everybody we can't say it anymore. It's like a plague if we say it.
The Washington football team. Yeah, Washington football team. Don't. I also make music, by the way, man. I make R&B music, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you?
I got an album coming out, mixtape album coming out. So no date on it yet, but it's coming. So prepare your ears, because I'm just trying to give everybody something different to hear, because it's a lot of cold stuff going on right now, a lot of crazy chaos going on right now. So I got some music coming out, something to soothe your soul a little bit. So just kind of prepare for that.
Well, I will help you out. You get me that demo, or you get me that album, and I will give it to some of the big DJs out here in Long Island and New York. I'm actually a DJ myself, so I could hook you up, man.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Hey, that's how God works, That's how God works.
I will help you out, man.
Like I said, I got you guys.
All right.
So we actually interviewed a teammate of yours when you were in Washington, and Mac Brown, on Monday. Did you guys know each other as teammates? And if so, what were some of your impressions of him?
Yeah, Mac Brown, that was my guy, man. Mac Brown, I met Mac Brown my rookie year with the Washington football league, Washington football, and we, as a brotherhood, it's more of it. Don't as a brotherhood, you don't just meet somebody and just say, hey, we're brothers. No, you got to go through something. You got to go through certain things to for it to be a brotherhood. So I'm saying all that to say this. We all earned our respect, with each other, as whether it was on the field or, off the field. We gained respect for each other. And, that's how it was with the running backs group. So, Mac Brown, that's my guy. And, he's great back himself, So, Beast hang with Beast. And, we, like I said, we were just getting each other better at the time. And, those kind of things don't never leave your mind. That stick with you forever.
It's very, very interesting. And Mac is a real estate agent / he says that he wants to try to get back into the NFL, and he Urban Meyer going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's his guy. He played for Urban Meyer. He's going to try to get back into the league. Have you had any thought to possibly trying to make another run into the NFL?
It's possible, but like I said, I'm a guy that's coming with genuine intentions. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming with genuine love, for the game, really. When I'm out there, it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing at the end of the day when I'm out there. So when I was playing in the XFL, I got that feel. That's the kind of feel that it gave me. It gave me that genuine love, that I could, feel again and be able to, show these fans and, pretty much the world that, hey, you can still pretty much have fun playing football, without it being an NFL or the top, level. Like I played at the top level. Like, I wanted it to be more genuine football than anything, and XFL gave me that. It gave me that again, and you know, if they were to offer me, you know, I would need a bonus if anything. I mean, because I just know how it is, man. Like I said, I've played for 7 different NFL teams. It's not it's a business. So, like I said, it's, you know, the XFL came out, they started showing love. So it's like, hey, I want to get back to that again. That's what, like I said, I play off of love. I go off of the love for the game. I love the game. You know what I'm saying? And the money just came with it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I love the games. And that's what I'm coming, you know, with it. And the XFL brought that. And I'm excited for what Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia have to offer for us.
So 2-part question here. I want to go back to your college career. You played at Texas A&M for 3 years, and you were actually a part of the team where Johnny Manziel won a Heisman, and their first 3 years in the SEC. Mike Evans was there, one of the best receivers when he was in college football, now one of the best receivers in the NFL. So first part is, what were your college experiences like? And number 2, recently Texas A&M was snubbed. A lot of people thought out of the college football playoffs as that number 4 spot over Notre Dame. Do you think, as a former Texas A&M alum, they should have gotten in?
Absolutely. You know, shout out to Jimbo Fisher. You know, like I said, I felt like that program needed a. I've tweeted it out before. You know, I just felt like that program needed what Jimbo was offering to the organization, and you know, at the end of the day, you see the outcome, you see the difference. So, I'm excited for Texas A&M. But my college experience was great at Texas A&M. I love College Station. You know, heck of a fan base. Shout out to Texas A&M. You know, it's always been love. It's always been genuine from the jump. It was genuine from the jump. But you know, our college experience was more of, you know, we were trying to win a championship, man. And you know, Johnny, you know, we almost got there. You know, we had a heck of a football squad. You know, we had Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, Jake Matthews, Luke Jokel, you know, Patrick Lewis. You know, I can go on. You know, we had so much talent. You know, it was pretty. That was our focus, really, was to get a championship. You know, so our college experience was it was a heck of an experience that I'll never forget.
I remember you from that Texas A&M team, and I also remember you when you played for the Colts. I remember that too. So
Yeah.
the 2 times that when I heard that Trey Williams was going to come on, I had to really look back, and I was like, oh, I remember him from Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel. And I remember when Saban came out and said that was the best team he's ever played against. Johnny Manziel was the best quarterback he's ever played against. And that Texas A&M team, that built team, was one of the best teams he's ever actually coached against. So when you hear that from a guy like Saban, who's an all-time great coach and has won so many championships with the Alabama Crimson Tide and was an NFL coach as well, that's saying a lot for a coach from that magnitude, Trey.
Absolutely. And like I said, I was around that. I was around, you know, some dogs. I was around some great athletes. You know what I'm saying? And we should have won the championship, but hey, everything happens for a reason. You know, and like I said, I don't have any regrets. You know, I know some people might think I might have regrets going, or I should have stayed. You know, I should have did this longer or whatever, you know, but you don't necessarily know what the athlete is going through, you know, at the time. Once, you know, when athletes do, you know, stuff like that, you got to look at guys like, you know, great athletes like Kyler Murray, you know, Kyle Allen, you know, those guys left Texas A&M for a reason, you know. So, you know, the things I was going through, you know, it was much needed. And I felt, like I said, I don't have any regrets. And I felt like that was the best decision for me at the time. You know, like I said, we don't come from much. So I feel like that was the best decision for me at the time. And, you know, to elevate and, you know, play against next level talent. And that's what I wanted to do. And, you know, like I said, I don't have any regrets. And I had a great time at Texas A&M. I plan on going there soon, too. So shout out to Texas A&M.
We are talking to free agent NFL and XFL running back Trey Williams. Now, Trey, before we let you go, and I know you're pretty busy, and like I said, and by the way, I definitely want to get that album. I can help you out over here, and I definitely want to get you back on the show when the football season starts and when the draft comes around, because it's going to be a very, very interesting offseason for the NFL. And what really sticks out to me this offseason is that there wasn't much of an NCAA season. A lot of these players didn't have a season because of COVID-19. Do you think, looking at the draft, a lot of these scouts, a lot of these coaches are going to be intrigued in the later rounds where they can get a fourth or fifth round that could be a first or second round talent? Does that stick out to you because of everything that's happened this past 2020?
It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be because the combine is already a crazy experience by itself. So I can only imagine how they got it now. I mean, I haven't been paying attention to the draft lately, but I can only imagine how the combine is gonna be for these guys. It's actually kind of scary to even look back and think about it now. But I haven't really been paying attention to the draft. But like I said, I know the combine is a crazy process. It's one I wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I went through it.
I wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I went through it. Good. That's a great line. And we got to take that line. We'll use that as a drop. It was a great experience.
That's the experience. Right?
It was a great experience, but I'll never do it again.
That's it.
He's got a good person.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I'll also tell you this. I'm probably the best professional athlete singer you guys are probably here.
Really? Look at that.
I'm gonna put it out on the line right there.
Look at that.
I'm gonna put it on the line right there. I'm gonna just go
Hey, listen, I'm a huge Damian.
I'm gonna put it on the line. Not to be cocky. I just want you guys to, feel the vibe. Feel the vibe.
I feel it, man. I feel you. I'm
not like Carl Lewis. I don't. I'm not like Carl Lewis. No. It's just a joke. It's just a joke.
No. But hey, listen, you're confident.
No beef to Carl Lewis.
Stop. Carl Lewis. He was, Carl Lewis was a great track and field runner.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was all-time great.
So,
not much of a singer, that's for sure.
Right. I hope you guys would enjoy that. But what were you going to say? What was your next question?
So I was going to ask, being that you played in 4 different leagues, you played in the NFL, you played in the CFL for a little while with Toronto, the AAC, and the XFL. What were just some of the biggest differences with the rules?
You breaking up. I can't hear you.
I was saying, with the 4 different leagues that you played in, what were some of the biggest differences with the rules and like how that your approach as a running back was?
It didn't affect much. I mean, football is football. You got 11 guys out there and 11 on 11 and they playing, you running your plays. It's the same thing in my opinion, in my eyes. You still, like you said, you're still playing football. Football is football, 11 on 11 professional football. That's how it is, regardless of the rules. The kickoff, the special teams is a little different. But for the most part, when you out there, you just looking at it like, hey, this is football. Like, this is what we do. This is a lifestyle. I've been doing this my whole life. So, that's the rules didn't have any effect on the play, really, at all.
Well, Trey, we really appreciate you taking the time out. Obviously, Trey, why don't you tell the fans how they can find you on social media? And why don't you, give us a little post on when your album's coming out?
I don't have a date yet, but I'm definitely gonna. I'm about to start, putting stuff out there to let you guys hear it, and like I said, there's no set date yet. It's like I said, I'm still, we're mastering it. We're doing all of the process to get to, to catch you guys' ears or whatever. But I'm just putting it out there right now. So, be prepared. It's coming soon. So,
is it your label?
I hope you guys like R&B.
Are you signed under a label, or are you doing it, by yourself, or are you putting it out there by yourself?
I'm independent right now. I'm doing this independently right now. I'm an independent artist right now. So
well,
I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys like it.
I've got some connections out here. So when you're done and your album is out there, you get me an album and I'll get it to the right people. And you never know. You never know.
Hey, well, we got connects, so we here, so we can make it happen.
Absolutely. Tell the fans how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram, TWLL3. Same thing, Twitter, TWLL3. My it's about to be on and popping. Just stay tuned. The XFL is coming back. I believe in Dwayne Johnson. I believe in Danny Garcia to do right for us. So, like I said, shout out to them.
Trey, thank you for joining us, and we're going to talk to you soon. I will reach out to you. I'll have my producer over here reach out to you, and when that album comes out, or when you have the album, you just get it to me. We'll actually maybe play some of the tracks when we come back from break, so people can actually check out your music.
I appreciate the love.
Absolutely. Trey Williams, ladies and gentlemen, free agent NFL player and XFL player, running back. I remember him from Texas A&M. I remember that team because I was a big Johnny Manziel fan.
Yes, you were. I remember.
It was a huge Johnny Manziel
I remember when I first came to this network. I know Mike was making fun of you a lot because you like Johnny Manziel.
I did, and I still do. I mean, it's a shame what happened to the kid. I mean, the drugs and the limelight really scared who he was as a player. I think he was so talented. He could have gone down as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. I just think that he wanted to be the center of attention. Money. What do they call him? Money. What do you call himself?
Money Manziel. Yep.
Money Manziel or
Johnny
whatever.
Football was the other
Johnny
one.
Football. I just think he got himself into a lot of trouble just being the center of attention. But I love Johnny Manziel. I loved Mike Evans. And Mike Evans wins the Super Bowl with Tom Brady this past year. And it was a big part of it too. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I remember, that's how I remember Trey Williams, because Trey was a very good offensive player on that team. He was a great running back on that team. And I remember him on the Colts. They had a three-headed monster with that Colts with
it was Marlon Mack's rookie year. I'm trying to remember who the other one was. I forget. Yeah, it was 2017.
It was Mack, Trey Williams, and somebody else.
Yeah, I forget the other guy's name. He was more of the pass catching guy.
But I remember
he was number 29. I can't remember his name.
Whatever it is, but I do remember Trey, and the little bit that I do remember of the 7 or 8 teams that he played for in the NFL, I remember him. And he was a pretty good college player.
Oh, I think it was Vic Ballard, I think, at that time.
Who knows? If Trey actually stayed another year in college, who knows where he'd be today, because they usually tell you to try to stay as long as you can so you can develop your skills. But Trey, being that he played on 7 or 8 different teams, he's still playing professional football for 7 or 8 years as a running back. That's a successful career.
Shows he really loves the game.
He loves the game.
Loves the game.
Loves the game. And you heard him. A lot of these athletes, they didn't have anything. And the fact that, if he came out and said that if he ever came back to the NFL, he wants a signing bonus. And I, as well as she should get it. I think a lot of these NFL players, a lot of the contracts that they get should be guaranteed money. The fact that they're not is despicable. And I think the game needs to change. The CBA rules need to change, because to me, when you look at the big picture and where some of these players are going and the injuries that they have, the brain injuries they have, the leg injuries, the ankle injuries they have, they're never the same after they're done with their careers. And I feel bad for them because they don't really have much of anything after that. So unfortunately, but Trey looks like he's in good shape. And like he said, he's singing, and he says that he is the greatest singer athlete we've ever interviewed, and he quite possibly could be right, because we've interviewed some people that said they can sing, and they're great. They're great artists. But Trey is very confident. I'm looking forward to listening to his album. I want to get into this LeBron James thing. I listened to this all over on all different social media panels. I've listened to so many radio shows. When Tom Brady won his Super Bowl, everybody is coming out and saying that Tom Brady is the greatest athlete of all time, the greatest athlete of this era. Now, define athlete. Speedy, I want you to look up what the dictionary says when it comes to athlete. Because when I look at athlete, an athlete is defined at multiple, talents. You're good. You're a very fast runner. You're very strong. You're an all-around great athlete. So, Speedy, the definition of an athlete.
The Oxford Dictionary says athlete, a person who is proficient in sports and other form of physical exercise.
Now, Tom Brady is great at exercising and staying in shape. As you can see, he's 44 years old, and he's still in the NFL, and he's winning championships. There's no question that he is.
Not so good at holding his liquor, though.
Well, that's quite true. But that's because he doesn't party when he wins these Super Bowls, because he's won 7 of them. But when I look at the athlete and I define the athlete, especially with some of the great athletes we've seen in this time. You talk about Peyton Manning. Even you want to call Tom Brady an athlete, that's fine. You want to talk about LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony. Then from hockey, you talk about Sidney Crosby, Malkin, John Tavares, Ovechkin, all these great athletes. We talk about some of the greatest athletes of this era. The one that sticks out to me and stands out to me for the last 20 years is LeBron James. And the reason why is not because of the titles. And everybody keeps saying, well, he's only won 4 titles and Tom Brady won 7, so he's a better athlete. That's not why when people argue who's the greatest athlete of all time, where you can argue, well, Tom Brady's better. Tom Brady's one of the greatest winners of all time. Winners. Athletes, I don't know. If you try to compare and contrast LeBron James to Tom Brady, there is no comparison to the athletic word, okay? Because Tom Brady wasn't an athlete. When he came into the NFL, he was a 6th-round draft pick. He was tall and lengthy, skinny and scrawny, had no muscle, no definition. He couldn't run a 40/5, okay? So to say that Tom Brady is one of the greatest athletes of all time, it's crazy. It's ludicrous. When you talk about athlete, you look at guys like LeBron James. LeBron James can jump like a deer. I mean, seriously, or like a kangaroo. He can run up and down the court like an Olympic runner. I mean, the guy is built, he's a specimen. He's 280 pounds, 260 pounds, and the guy can do all the things that you expect an athlete to do on a basketball court and on other courts. If LeBron James played in the NFL right now, he'd be a successful tight end. He'd probably be one of the best tight ends in the league.
Did you hear him say a couple of weeks ago that he was actually thinking about that during the NBA lockout, trying out for the NFL?
I don't know, and I don't think that would be a smart idea for a guy of that magnitude. It really wouldn't be. But when I look at athletes and I try to compare and contrast the greatest athletes of all time, was Joe Montana a great athlete? The answer is no, he wasn't. When you look at athletes and you compare and contrast athletes, Russell Wilson is an athlete. Lamar Jackson is an athlete. RG3 was an athlete. Even guys like Sam Darnold, who is he's a mobile quarterback / thrower, even though he's not a talented upscale athlete, he's an athlete.
Right. And again, think about even just the past ones. People just want to judge the quarterbacks because they win. They're the most important position. They judge it. They're not necessarily, and in most cases, they're not the best athletes. On Monday, when we had Tony Casillas on the show, he was talking about Barry Sanders and how Barry Sanders stopped, went backwards, and then just reestablished his run like he's never seen before and made him look silly. Like Barry Sanders was a special raw athlete, even though he was on a team that won 1 playoff game in their entire life. Yeah, we know that. Just because he's not accomplished doesn't make him a great athlete. And again, sometimes football gets drowned out on that with defensive players, with receivers, guys like that, just because the quarterbacks get shadowed and get all the attention.
When you look at the UFC, you look at John Jones or even Conor McGregor. And I'm not a big Conor fan.
Wow, I'm surprised you gave him that much credit.
He's an athlete. He does a lot of things. So much credit. I'm not giving him credit. He's an athlete. He's a good boxer. He's a good MMA fighter. And his skills are warranted in all different styles of fighting. So he is a good athlete. Could Tom Brady play basketball? The answer is probably not. Could he run? Is he a fast runner? No. Is he that kind of player? No, he's not. He's a great football player. He's a great football mind. But is he a great athlete? The answer is no. And I hate when people say, when they try to compare and contrast the greatest athletes of all time, because Tom Brady isn't to compare. He is the greatest, one of the top 5, top 4 greatest winners to ever play in professional sports. There's no question that he was, and he is. But to say that he's an athlete, LeBron James, look at what he does on the court. Look how he changes the game when he steps on the court. Look how good he makes the teams that he plays for when he steps on the court. When he went back to Cleveland the year before won 19 games. When he went back to Cleveland, they won 50. That's what transitions the game. That's what, when you look at the athletic ability, basketball is an athletic sport. I'm not saying football isn't, but the quarterback position, if you're a pocket present quarterback, you don't have to be a great athlete. You have to have a great arm, and you got to know the game. You got to understand the game, understand the audibles, the play calling at the line of scrimmage. That doesn't define an athlete. What defines an athlete is that if you have to take it to another notch to run the ball in, or run the ball up and down the court, or pass the ball, or make these unbelievable passes or unbelievable shots at the end of the game, that's, to me, is a form of athleticism. That's what when I define an athlete. When you talk about guys like Michael Phelps was a fast swimmer. He's a great all-around swimmer, athlete.
And had similar for his sport longevity as what Tom Brady's had now, because usually you see in the Olympics, they only go 2 years, maybe 3, and that's really it. And
you need athletic ability to swim.
Including the world championship. It's a stamina sport too. So you really have to have that kind of longevity. Him to be able to do 5 Olympics and all those world championships and still win golds is longevity that you rarely see out of anybody. Even it's about the same level, he may be even better than Tom Brady.
It throws me off when people try to say, well, Tom Brady is the greatest athlete of all time. Right now, the greatest athlete of our era is LeBron James. It's not even close. You want to argue Kobe Bryant's right there with him? Then fine. You can argue Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was a sensational athlete, an all-around great athlete. Michael Jordan, as much as everybody want to compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan, well, when it comes to winning, yeah, you could say Tom Brady is the greatest winner out of the both of them because he's won 7 titles and Michael Jordan has only won 6. But I wouldn't even say that because Michael Jordan did it at a time where the game was completely different. And Michael Jordan won 3 championships in a row, then retired, and then won 3 championships when he came back. So that, to me, just solidifies why he's the greatest winner of my time and what I've seen as an athlete. But when you compare and contrast an athlete, now, by the way, Carl is saying, so Vince Young was a great athlete, but just not a very bright guy. Yeah. Vince Young was one of the greatest NFL players to come into the league. When it comes to athletes,
and
athletic.
He was also a pretty decent quarterback for 4 years. He just had the feud with Jeff Fisher, and then he just was hurt all the time, and then obviously his career fell apart.
And by the way, Cleveland Dash says, listen, bro, you better put Serena at the top of the list. Forget that LeBron James is the man. Okay. First of all, LeBron James right now, as good as Serena Williams is as a tennis player, and she's fantastic. And Roger Federer is just as good as she is. Okay. He has more championships than Serena Williams. Okay. Does that make him a better athlete than Serena Williams? The answer is no. Okay, Serena Williams' athletic ability as a woman tennis player is fantastic. LeBron James is just a whole nother beast. LeBron is at the top. He's 6'9", and by the way, Carl is now going back with Cleveland that LeBron is 6'9" and doing it. And LeBron James is an unbelievable athlete. His body tone, his body, just what he is on a basketball court, and how he transitions the game when he steps on the court. It's otherworldly when you try to compare. When you put Tom Brady there, Tom Brady makes everybody around him better, not because he's the better athlete on the field. It's because he's the smartest guy on the field. That's what makes Tom Brady so great. When he steps on the field, he sees the field better than everybody else does. That's what makes Tom Brady great. Not because of his athleticism. So when I hear Tyler Harrison say, oh, watch out, Michael Jordan, you have a new sheriff in town, the greatest athlete of all time, it's Tom Brady. No, he's not. He's not the greatest athlete of all time. He's not even close. He's not even close.
And again, the longevity of these other athletes that have really shown with LeBron, with, like we were saying earlier, Phelps, and even with Serena Williams, like Cleveland was saying, like the longevity is right there with all of them. And I think with football, especially, not necessarily with all positions, because there's certain positions where, you need that kind of like impressive longevity with receivers, with corners, running backs, stuff like that. If you could have longevity at those positions, those are incredible. That's why I think you mentioned it on several occasions. We think both of us think Jerry Rice is the greatest football player because how he has that kind of longevity as a receiver,
absolutely,
and still putting up great numbers is incredible. Like that's the kind of thing you look at when judging that. The quarterback, especially for a pocket quarterback, it's a little easier in comparison to other sports and other positions in football to have that kind of longevity. So that's why I think the accomplishments are still great for Brady, but the longevity is an advantage for the other three.
It's like comparing a race car driver to a basketball player. Oh, Jeff Gordon's the greatest athlete of all time because he could drive a car. Are you kidding me? He's great at what he does, and there's no question. If you want to say that you need athleticism to be a race car driver, fine, you can say that. Yeah, you need good reflexes. If you want to say they have better reflexes than NFL players, maybe they do. I don't know. I've never raced a car before. I've never gone 250 miles on a raceway. I've never done that before. So how would I know? But to come out and say that Tom Brady is the greatest athlete to ever play the game, the greatest athlete of this era, that's a joke. That's crazy to say. That's ludicrous because there are athletes right now. Look at LaMelo Ball. Look at what I'm not a big fan of LaMelo Ball, by the way. I'm not. But he is an unbelievable athlete. Go watch how he plays the game of basketball. Go watch baseball play. Mike Trout is an unbelievable athlete. That is an unbelievable athlete.
That's the one that's coming for the top spot in the era.
I mean, if you want to compare and contrast athletes, you can argue that Mike Trout's a better athlete than LeBron James. You can argue that. Or Aaron Judge is just as good an athlete as LeBron James because of his size and his ability to run the bases, or catch the ball in the outfield, or hit the ball as hard as he does, or see the ball the way he does. Tiger Woods, another one. No, nobody looks at Tiger Woods as a great athlete because he's a golfer. But he, to me, being that the game is you need a tremendous amount of athletic ability to play golf. Now, does that make him a better athlete than LeBron James? The answer is no.
I think Tiger Woods is more as if you're judging influential athletes because he really popularized golf more than anything else in terms of the impact he had on changing that game. But he didn't have. I don't think he had the longevity just because of the injuries, even at the start of last decade, that some of these other ones had.
And listen. And by the way, shout out to Tiger Woods again. Hopefully he's gonna, speedy recovery. Maybe he steps on the golf course again. I doubt it. I don't think we'll ever see him play professional golf again, especially from this injury. But it's a sad day for golf because Tiger Woods is such a Samaritan to the game, and he really transitioned the game of golf. He's an icon, yeah. But LeBron James, or what LeBron James has done, he's the greatest athlete so far in the last 25 years we've ever seen. And like I said, you want to bring in guys like Kobe Bryant. If you want to argue the points that Kobe was just as good an athlete as LeBron James, that's fair. That is fair. You want to say that Russell Wilson is as good an athlete as LeBron James, that is fair. Watch Russell Wilson play the game. He uses his legs just as much as he uses his arm and uses his brain. That shows you, that's a compare and contrast, a great athlete. Okay. Michael Phelps, a great athlete because of the way he swam and the way he competed. Serena Williams, a great athlete, the way she competed, the way she run up and down the courts and the way she puts spin on the ball and hits the ball as hard as she does like a man. I mean, it's incredible. Wayne Gretzky, he wasn't and this is a good argument because Wayne Gretzky wasn't an athletic hockey player. He really wasn't. He was fast, but not that fast. He had skills, but he didn't have the hardest shot. He didn't have those capabilities that we see some of these players like Sidney Crosby does in the league. Sidney Crosby's very fast, and his ability to puck handle and stuff like that. What made Wayne Gretzky one of the greatest, or if not the greatest hockey player of all time, is the way he saw the ice, the way he saw the players when they moved, everything slowed down. That's what made Wayne Gretzky so great. When you look at guys like Alexander Ovechkin, that guy is an unbelievable athlete. The speed, the power, the way he hits, the ability, all the transition of the game of hockey. It's unbelievable when you watch this guy skate. That is a great athlete. You want to ask me who's a better athlete, Wayne Gretzky or Alexander Ovechkin? I'm taking Alexander Ovechkin. He's a better athlete. Is he a better player? The answer is no. Will he be? He has an opportunity to be. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be very hard.
Why is it going to be very hard? Because he's going to break his scoring record.
Maybe, but
no, it's not maybe.
Even that's a stretch, and then he's still He's going to be 700 something assists behind.
Well, I'm not telling you he's going to break his assists, but to me, assists don't stand out the most. And I still think Mario Lemieux is a better player than Wayne Gretzky. I watched both guys play. And Mario Lemieux was a lot bigger of a player, and he had a lot more different skills that stood out to me than Wayne Gretzky's did, okay? I think Mario Lemieux is the greatest hockey player I've ever seen play. That's my opinion. But when I watch Gretzky play and I watch Brady play, if you want to compare Brady's skills to somebody, it would be Gretzky-like. Because Gretzky wasn't the best athlete on the ice, but he was the smartest athlete on the ice. And that's what made Wayne Gretzky so great. Tom Brady is not the greatest athlete, not the greatest football player to ever step on the field, but he quite be one of the smartest to ever play the game. And that's what makes Brady so great. That's what makes Brady so great.
Yeah, always separate between athleticism, smarts, different eras that you play in, position emphases. They always have to go there. And like we were saying, longevity is a big key at certain positions as well. Jerry Rice at the receiver position, insane in longevity. And you're seeing it now at LeBron James. His insanity for longevity at his age, doing the things he does, is going to make him that much better as he goes through his career, and probably will define it, unless, like I said, somebody like Mike Trout, who could come in and get that too as the best athlete of the era when he's done, because he's still only 27 years old.
Yeah, right now you can argue that the two best athletes in professional sports is Mike Trout and LeBron James. But if you want to know my honest opinion, the best athlete in professional sports in the last 20 years, it's LeBron James. It's hands down LeBron James. You can't even argue. You want to argue Kobe Bryant? Fine, bring Kobe Bryant. But the best comparison to Tom Brady is Wayne Gretzky. Two of the very smartest athletes and winningest athletes of all time. And you look at Wayne Gretzky, I think he won 4 titles.
He won 4. He went to the Cup with the Kings. They lost to Montreal, who was a way better team than they were.
He won 4 titles, and not many hockey players have won 4 titles, especially ones that are still alive.
Yeah, I think most of the ones that won more were in the original 6 era.
Yeah, so when you think of Wayne Gretzky, you want to compare Tom Brady to somebody, and this is a great argument. When you want to compare two of the greatest of their eras, two of the greatest of their positions, two of the greatest of their sports, you can compare Tom Brady to Wayne Gretzky. You cannot compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan. You can't compare Tom Brady to LeBron James. You can't compare Tom Brady to a Mike Trout. Okay, it's just, you can't. It doesn't make sense for anybody to argue that you're an idiot. Okay, aka Tyler Harrison being one of them. I'm so sick and tired of listening to these posts all over social media and saying that Tom Brady's the GOAT, the greatest athlete to ever play in professional sport. That is a joke. I don't know what the hell you're thinking in your head when you say it. Obviously, Tyler Harrison doesn't have much of a brain to say something like that. Is he one of the greatest winners of all time? No question that he is. One of the smartest athletes to ever step on the field or step on the court? Absolutely. Well, that's it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank, obviously, Greg Golson for joining us. He was great, sensational. And also Trey Williams for joining us, the great R&B Trey Williams. So
the greatest pro athlete singer.
That's what he says. I'm looking forward to listening to his album. That's for sure. Shout out to Carl, all the people that listen to us every single day. We really appreciate the fans listening to us and arguing their points all over social media. We love it. And I love the fans that they put their 2 cents and argue their points. But this was a great argument, a great debate. When you were trying to compare and contrast the winningest player to the greatest athlete of all time. Right. You want to say that Tom Brady's a bigger winner than LeBron James? No question. Is he a better athlete? The answer is no. So anyways, that's it for our show. Shout out to Cleveland Dash, all the guys and all the gals that listen to us every single week. Our shows are great. The hit list today, Tyler, I'm not Tyler, Austin show. I always mix up his names, Tyler and Austin. I don't know.
He wasn't even on that show. That's the weird part.
But tomorrow we have a great show. Ryan Hickey show tomorrow. And who else do we have tomorrow?
We got the B show tomorrow at 5 and Sports Betting Weekly at 8.
So we have a bunch of shows on tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. By the way, I'm just so excited for the future of the for the network and where our network is going. There is going to be a huge announcement in the next couple of weeks for one of our shows on our network, and I think a lot of people are going to be very intrigued when I announce it. So there's just so much going on. So stay tuned. We're happy to have you all listening to us every single day. That's it. Speedy, have anything to say before we go?
Yeah, wishing all the best for Tiger Woods. Hoping he recovers well. So far, we've seen good progress, but even if he doesn't get back to playing again, just wishing him all the best and getting him back to a normal life, because that definitely was brutal. So wishing him all the best.
Absolutely. And shout out to this weekend's baseball games. Spring training is about to begin. pitchers and catchers are throwing the ball and catching the ball right now. And this weekend, the start of spring training, I think a lot of people are excited. I'm sure the Met fans are, because I think Baseball Digest picked the Mets to be right now, and we're going to talk about it on the Weekend Crunch. Me and Josh actually called me. Number one team right now in baseball to win this year is the Dodgers. Number two, the Padres. Number three, the Yankees. Number four, I'm not sure who the number four is.
I think it was the Braves.
The Braves and then the Mets. Yeah. So it's going to be a very interesting season. The Mets all the way from 23rd to 24th last year, all the way to number 5, adding Francisco Lindor, Carrasco, and McCann, and May, and some of the players that they've added, Walker in free agency. So it's going to be a very, very interesting baseball season. By the way, Carl says Michigan basketball tomorrow and Sunday. Yippee, skippy, spaghetti.
They've been very good. No, they've been very good. Got to give Michigan some credit. They got a huge win against Ohio State and really cruising through this Big Ten right now.
Make Speedy cook some dinner. That's what Carl says. Interesting.
Carl, I don't know if you would want me to cook.
No, I don't want you to cook. That's for damn sure. He likes my macaroni and cheese. That's for sure. And my grilled cheese. I make some nasty good, great grilled cheese. Do I not speak?
Nasty good? That kind of
nasty good.
Itself.
It gives it a little nasty taste to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, anyway. But doesn't nasty and good contradict itself?
I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, that's it for our show. We will be back on Monday. Until then, what is that? One loss, Errol. I love you, Carl. Same thing with Cleveland. Thank you guys for listening to the show. We will be back on Monday. Until then, this is Errol Marks and Speedy Petey. And tune into the LI News Radio Weekend Crunch on Saturdays at 7 p.m. after the Islander game at 10 p.m. Tune in to the great show with me and Joshua Silverberg and Speedy Petey. It's on the FM dial. It's a great, great show. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.